Good morning. Hope you're having a good one. It's a beautiful summer day and the sun is shining brightly. This is the afternoon and evening of the 6th of July and morning of the 7th. I think I know what's going on, and the truth sounds outlandish, but it's the only thing that makes sense. It all began with a plan to do illegal things, get me to move. That's why the Wi-Fi network I found near me was called Guilty for Her Pleasure, which was renamed Encrypted for Her Pleasure, which I got a picture of in my pictures on my computer. Bill, the only married to a her, unless it was Arvid for Patty, wanted to make his wife happy or the client happy. And she wanted me to move out of my home because of drugs or being gay or both. Knowing he would need to lie to make himself appear not guilty, he cast a switcheroo curse or spell, where he is believed of everything, he says, and I, the honest one, is believed by nobody, not even my own mom, even though I have the proof of the crime being committed in a neighbor's own words. The police believe her of the lies and of a government connection, which is false. Bill lied to a whole lot of people, entrapping them into his crime, and is believed to be telling the truth about things. Because his helpers, some in positions of authority, put their signature on documents or sent communication up the chain of command of certain beliefs, they feel obligated to follow through with a narrative or plan or projection, even though it's not the truth. The ones in position of authority who know the truth because of R&M are afraid to come forward because they used it to get me to respond as if I were crazy and could get in trouble. R&M was used because I had one mental health evaluation that they illegally learned about and used to their advantage to create more, with the help of friends, family, and neighbors occasionally contacting them in a voice of authority to reinforce the belief of lies and mental illness being the issue in my life when it's not. Everyone in the executive branch ignores me because of a lie that I am somebody not to be liked and that the technology is somehow mine, which it is not. Everyone in this situation needs to be forgiven for their crimes so that the truth can come out and so that the right thing happens and the light energy technology goes away. Because as long as lies are believed, the amount of the technology grows. When there's enough of it, it will disrupt everything electrical and technology based and soak up the juice like a sponge. I contacted the Public Records Unit last night and filed a report to get the cruiser cockpit cam microphone from the 23rd of June, which is when I was detained illegally at Internal Affairs and then sent to another unnecessary hospitalization with lies in the narrative. Fraud. Same thing. I thought of a way to create validity of the truth. The MCR cruiser cam footage. It will have the officer taking the report of the third report that I filed and information about the other two on it. So I don't have a paper trail. What I have is a video trail because the officer did the report while sitting in the cruiser. So if the Columbus Division of Police maintains that there is no report filed on June 23rd, they've got a real big fucking problem. I rambled and babbled a lot on that afternoon, and the ordeal took a lot of time, too. First, the sheriff's department was going to meet up with us at Internal Affairs on Broad Street, 1185. And then the police cruiser ended up transporting me to OSU, where we met with the sheriff's department, and they took me in. I spoke about a lot of things, and then so did he, about making a report of a crime as a miscellaneous incident. When somebody is illegally linked to your network, that is a crime. And when the network, or when the device has one extra letter than a next door neighbor, and it's Asian, it should be investigated. So basically, the cop was being a smartass. I took two videos, IMG 2587 and IMG 2586, that show a kind of strobe light painted on effect in the background. Especially noticeable are the edges of the blinds not being correct, or at least in a straight line. I was able to capture zigzag waves of the edge of some of the blind slats, and I posted that online as well. As always, the window's edge is where there is the most technology. No matter how correct I am about things, it all comes down to a popularity contest. Majority wins. We just celebrated the 20th anniversary of 9/11 because the majority of Americans still believe the event was all real and no trickery or deception was involved. If the people are going to save themselves, because the politicians who should won't, we need to wise up quickly. There needs to be a catalyst event, like a movie of an R&M screen put on social media by a perpetrator who believes in human rights and disagrees with what is going on and with slavery. There's got to be at least one person out there. And I'm giving a reward for it. I'm giving a percentage of my profit from the sale of my journals. This is my 9th one. I've got this many more pages before I started 10. I'm not the world's best writer. I have the most incredible story ever. And it will be told because it is my experience and it is my perspective. So anybody who wants to try and silence it like Arvid did is going to have a really, really tough time. Because there's nothing in it but truth. DJE 7228 was a white passenger vehicle this morning while I was outside that parked at the bottom of Arvid's driveway. A knee-jerk reaction came over me, and out of habit, I memorized the plate number of the woman who puts out the patriotic propaganda in the neighborhood on holiday weekends. Because of past experience and present unease, because of his affiliation with a federal criminal daylighting as a construction laborer / undercover government worker, who has certainly fooled Patty, I have good reason to be suspicious of anyone who goes towards the strange staring man's house. Why he ever started staring out his windows at me, I'll never know. But seeing men carrying legal contracts in manila envelopes and women picked up in vehicles at the curb, and sign language, and Arvid waiting for a ride at the blue house on the corner's driveway, something is definitely up. This morning, clear as a crisp fall day, I hear children's voices playing in a nearby yard, a rarity for this uppity urban burb that fancies itself as its own suburb, complete with matching fire and police squads to project a drug-free America. A few bad eggs spoiled the dozen, is what they all screamed. Well, I screamed the same thing back, but I never get any services. I get denied all sorts of civil liberties, and I get peering eyes from every direction. Most of the ridiculousness involved in their intense and prolonged stalking of me, being mini-cops on the lookout for addict-like using behavior, to call in and report to MCR, the hotline that's set up in abusive power organization Netcare, to perform all sorts of unnecessary hospitalizations. Most of the actual stalking has ceased, because now they just point to the mountain of documentation they created. Their people in the field know they had a friend in Patty, and she regularly had all sorts of help projecting removal after removal from my home. I want to know what Patty asked the woman on August 15th, 2020, with license plate EHG 6824, who said on Patty's screened-in porch, "Well, we can't promise anything, but there will be testing and an evaluation." That woman's testimony, or any of the officers who heard her use hate speech, could have ended this nightmare years ago. Her cleaning up the neighborhood is in fact severe discrimination. And her determination to get her way is indicative of her mental illness, not mine. I said to the cop in the cruiser, and I can't wait to get a copy of it so I can post it all over the internet. Quote, "She's trying to get me moved out of my home over doing drugs in the privacy of it. Fuck. Come into my house, weigh it out, give me a fucking ticket, and then leave me the fuck alone."